Before U.S. intervention, this nation maintained fragile stability. Markets bustled and government institutions functioned, though underlying tensions simmered. Political protests were occasional but not widespread. The country's GDP grew modestly, and life for civilians, while not perfect, was relatively predictable. However, cracks in governance and ethnic divisions hinted at potential unrest. Diplomatic cables later revealed concerns about the regime's longevity. This scene sets the stage for how external intervention would disrupt this delicate balance. The U.S. justifies its intervention with rhetoric about democracy promotion or counterterrorism. Official statements cite human rights abuses or threats to regional security. Behind closed doors, strategic interests like oil or countering rival powers play a role. Military advisors arrive, and local leaders are pressured to align with U.S. demands. Propaganda posters appear, praising the new alliance. This marks the beginning of a foreign-backed shift in power dynamics, often sidelining existing political structures. U.S. support arms and trains select factions, often exacerbating existing rivalries. Weapons shipments flood the country, and splinter groups emerge, each vying for dominance. Flags of new militias proliferate, and local power structures fracture. Reports indicate that some groups hoard supplies, while others engage in extortion. The once unified opposition to the government now devolves into infighting. This fragmentation sets the stage for prolonged conflict, as no single group can claim legitimacy or control. The first large-scale battles erupt between rival factions, often in urban centers. Civilians flee as artillery shells demolish apartments and schools. Hospitals overflow with casualties, and infrastructure collapses. Satellite images reveal neighborhoods reduced to rubble. Reports surface of atrocities committed by all sides, but accountability is rare. The conflict, once a localized struggle, now engulfs the entire country. Foreign media begins to label it a civil war, though its roots are far more complex. As war rages, civilians bear the brunt. Displacement camps swell, with families living under tarps in squalid conditions. Famine strikes as supply lines are cut. Children suffer from malnutrition. Diseases like cholera spread due to contaminated water. Aid groups struggle to operate amid violence. UN reports cite thousands dead and millions in need. Yet international attention remains sporadic, focused more on geopolitical stakes than human suffering. This is the unseen cost of proxy warfare. The U.S. responds to the chaos with direct military action. Drones patrol the skies, and special forces conduct night raids. Civilian casualties mount from airstrikes, fueling local resentment. Declassified documents later reveal flawed intelligence behind many strikes. Meanwhile, contractors profit from rebuilding what bombs destroy. The intervention, meant to stabilize, instead entrenches the conflict. Body counts rise, but policymakers dismiss them as collateral damage. The war becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. Local anger toward foreign occupiers grows. Protests erupt, with crowds burning U.S. flags and chanting slogans against imperialism. Radical clerics gain followers by framing resistance as a holy duty. Polls show plummeting trust in American motives. Historians note parallels to Vietnam-era backlash. Even moderate factions now oppose U.S. presence, fearing association with unpopular policies. This shift empowers hardliners and undermines peace efforts, further destabilizing the region. Amid the vacuum, extremist groups like ISIS or al-Shabaab seize territory. They impose brutal rule, exploiting grievances against foreign intervention. Propaganda videos show executions and enforced Sharia law. Global terror networks expand, drawing recruits from disillusioned youth. Intelligence agencies admit these groups flourished due to destabilization. Yet, U.S. strategy remains focused on military solutions, ignoring the ideological roots of extremism. The original intervention's goals are now unrecognizable. Diplomatic attempts collapse as factions refuse to compromise. UN-brokered ceasefires are violated within hours. Leaked emails reveal backroom deals favoring foreign interests over local needs. The war economy enriches warlords who sabotage peace to retain power. Meanwhile, civilians endure another winter of siege and starvation. Analysts conclude that without addressing root causes, like inequality or foreign meddling, no treaty can last. The conflict enters its second decade with no end in sight. The country is now a shattered shell. Cities stand abandoned, littered with unexploded ordnance. A generation grows up knowing only war, their trauma passed down like an inheritance. Mass graves are discovered years later, with no justice for the victims. Economists estimate recovery will take 50 years, if peace ever comes. The U.S. moves on, repeating similar interventions elsewhere. This legacy questions the morality of nation-building and the true cost of foreign policy decisions.